Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, and welcome to everyone to the Inner Smile sequence. I am Dr. Serena Gaia, also known as Serena Anderlini, and I'm here to introduce you to this practice, a smile that comes from within and that does not need an object or an external perception to happen. This practice comes to the School of Ecosexual Love, which is my co-creation, from the Tao. The Tao is a very ancient tradition that is the matrix from where both what we know today as yoga and what we know today as Tantra come from. A basic principle of the Tao is that every form of life, every enfleshed being possesses a personal ecosystem. And this ecosystem will work well if all its interdependent parts function collaboratively and symbiotically with each other. So our practice of inner smile, which is subdivided in various parts, is designed for us to be able to create and sustain this type of harmony, this type of collaborativeness, of symbiosis and interdependence among all the internal parts of our personal ecosystem. And so this practice will enable us to also replace negative emotions that can come up in challenging times, like the ones we are experiencing now, and replace them with positive emotions. This will help both ourselves, our inner landscape, and what surrounds us, people, objects, animal, to navigate this time with more agility. So we'll begin with a section of preparation. It will be stretching and activation exercises. One of the principles of the Tao, which is also shared by other practical philosophies from the Far East, is that the body has inner energetic channels. That channels that, when activated, allow a more agile flow of the vital energy. And this is certainly what we want to accomplish, because the way this vital energy flows inside our bodies determines the option of removing any stagnation that can then transform into some kind of pathology. This time, in this period, it is better to minimize physical contacts, with all due exceptions, of course, of people with whom we quarantine, for example. So for many of us, this is a great challenge, because often we don't have the tools that allow us to rebalance our internal ecosystem, regardless of these contacts. For example, I really like to give and receive massages, and this is a way for me to rebalance my ecosystem via the intervention of another person. At this time, this is not so advisable, and so I think this is the right time to activate these Tao practices that precisely allow ourselves, simply with our hands, to do this job and thereby rewire our inner ecosystem. These practices that are useful at any time, and at this time in particular, they are really to be recommended at this time. At the end of this introductory video, the videos where I will demonstrate will start. In these videos, I will position myself at the back of the room and will demonstrate the practices for you. I will do them at a speed that helps people to follow, and you can also stop and rewind as necessary. The sequence will be divided in 4 parts. This is the introductory part. Then there is part 1, which is the activation part. It will be the first session. The second part is the one about the water wheel. And this part concerns the rebalancing of elements within our personal ecosystem. We're all made, like the earth, we're all made of 4 elements: water, fire, air, and earth. Some people add ether. And the water wheel rebalances the inner equilibrium of these parts within ourselves. The third part is the inner smile proper. This part connects the empty organs that we have in our inner ecosystem, the liver, the heart, the stomach, the kidneys, the lungs, and yes, it reconnects these empty organs with the planetary forces that are connected with them and the colors with which they are associated and the emotions that get stored that tend to get stored in these particular organs, the negative emotions and the positive emotions. So this is the inner smile proper, that if well prepared by the activities that I present before and if well completed by what I will present after, will really create a shift in your inner landscape. And if you are feeling like this is really a difficult time and you can't make it, it might really shift that so that you will feel much better. And those positive emotions might really settle within your inner landscape and stay there once you've created them. The fourth part allows us to work on the ethereal bodies or our auras, ethereal bodies that surround us, the energetic bodies. And so is the one that concludes the sequence. So thank you for your attention. We will go to the first part, the activation exercises.